Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening. Here with your musical showcase, I'm Tyler Wolf, your host for A Kind Voice on Music. We've got another great program lined up for you, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. Today, we shine a spotlight on Derek Harris of the Misty Mountain String Band. Based out of Louisville, Kentucky, the Misty Mountain String Band is a folk and bluegrass string quartet reviving traditional Americana music with a modern influence. We are lucky enough to have Derek with us on our program. Hello, Derek. How are you today?
Hey, Tyler. I'm doing great. Excited to be here.
Great. We're really happy to have you. We're fans of your music here, and obviously we're going to be playing a little bit of your music a little later on. I got a little bit about you. It says, founded in 2012, you guys were requested to play a 113th annual old-fashioned camp revival. Now, Derek Harris is the bassist of the Misty Mountain String Band, vocalist as well. Tell us a little bit about how the band formed, Derek.
Sure, Tyler. We all met at seminary. We're from Louisville, Kentucky, and we all went to the Southern Baptist Seminary there in Louisville. And I knew our banjo player and mandolin player, Paul Martin, pretty well. And our fiddle player was in the church music school with me, and our guitarist is actually one of the professors at the seminary, and so we knew each other from there, and we hadn't played together yet, except for me and Paul, and some friends of mine from back home asked me to put together a group for this Yelvington campground revival that they've done every year, like you said, now it's about 115 years, I guess.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and so that was a pickup gig. We just me and Paul asked Neil and Brian to help out because some of our other typical string band buddies were unavailable. And it was just such a great experience getting together with Neil and Brian and Paul and working on those songs and just getting to know each other a little bit better, that after that revival, we just decided to keep it going and that we didn't want the band to break up after one gig, and we started to think about how we could keep it going for the long haul.
That's really cool how it just sort of fell together, and now you're doing things like playing with Louisville Philharmonic Orchestra, correct?
Yeah, we did that last year. We had just finished our debut EP, Went to the Well, and we had done a Kickstarter for that. And we kind of had to rush everything to get it together because we had been playing around town and had an offer to play with the Louisville Philharmonic Orchestra. So it's the only musician-run orchestra in Louisville, and the musicians that make up the board had heard us, and they thought it'd be great for the Pops concert to do some bluegrass with the orchestra. So me and Neil Green, the fiddle player, we took the songs that we played and we orchestrated them for the orchestra, and at rehearsals we got to conduct the orchestra and teach them how we wanted it to go, and then when the big night came, we got to just stand in front of the orchestra and they played backup for an old-timey bluegrass band.
Wow, it's amazing how something started so organic and so sort of thrown together, probably to make a few bucks and to kind of meet a couple guys, and then now, wow, you move on to something as prominent as a Philharmonic Orchestra. So how was that experience, having an entire orchestra back up your little quartet?
Yeah, it was definitely like one of the highlights of all of our lives, I think. So far, we've all been musicians. We've played music since we were all kids, and that was just the highlight of just about any musical experience that we've had, getting to have about a 90-piece orchestra playing behind you is just a kind of overwhelming sound when they're playing music you wrote and orchestrations you wrote, and that you got a chance to rehearse with them and tell them about your songs and tell them about your music, and that they actually loved it, and they weren't just there for a paycheck because they're a musician-run orchestra. They're there to play the music and enjoy the music just like we are. And so to have the support of an orchestra musically and the support just from them being other musicians who loved what we were doing, that was very, very encouraging for us at a pretty early stage in the band.
Yeah, I can't imagine as a musician myself, that must have been quite an epic experience. I mean, everyone knows how full and gorgeous an orchestra can be, but I can't imagine them playing music that I wrote. Certainly would do a little bit more than just give you chills, right? That's
yeah.
Experience. And you mentioned that it was the 2013 EP that it was Went to the Well that you did with the orchestra?
We did several songs from the EP, and we did a couple of old bluegrass tunes that we thought everybody would know as well. But yeah, we used that concert to kind of support our EP release.
Cool. Well, that EP is available on their site. You can buy it. It is a 6-track EP, which is a little bit longer than most EPs. It's almost like a short album. I'm a big fan myself, and we will have a track featured from that EP coming up a little bit later after our commercial break. You will hear Canaan, which is a great track. So tell me a little bit about that EP and where it was recorded and how it came about.
Well, after we had played that camp revival and we got together, we did several kind of cover gigs where we just played a bunch of old-timey fiddle tunes and bluegrass songs, and we had a really good time doing it. But as we started arranging some of those old songs in a way that suited our musical taste and our musical backgrounds, instead of just trying to replicate what we heard on, old records and stuff, we decided we wanted to write some of our own songs. Some of those arrangements were really coming together, and me and Paul have a pretty good history of being in different kinds of groups and different bands and writing a lot of our own music. So Went to the Well was kind of an intriguing experience for us because we had both been the sole writers for bands up until that point. And so you have two guys in one band that are both used to writing everything on their own and telling everybody else what to do. And so as we got past that arranging other people's music stage and started bringing our own ideas to the table, Went to the Well got a kind of interesting start because me and Paul didn't often like each other's input. We didn't want, not because it was bad input, but because you just get so used to doing things the way you do them. It's difficult to let go and to open up. And I think that when you can do that is when you really get great music. I know a lot of people don't think that, wonderful, amazing works of art happen in community, but I tend to think that they do. And so as me and Paul kind of accepted influence from Brian and accepted influence from Neil and accepted influence from each other, we really started to come up with our own unique sound and way of writing and way of telling our stories together instead of just the way that we had always done it before. So Canaan is actually a song that Paul wrote, but in a goodwill effort, he was going to let me sing it, but then we decided we would split the verses. So when the listeners get a chance to hear Canaan, they hear that Paul sings the first half of every verse, and I sing the second half, just kind of in a goodwill effort, an olive branch as songwriters that we were going to work together and try to do the best we could.
Well, I'm certainly happy that you guys are collaborating so much. It does have a lot to do with that unique sound that you have, and there's something to be said about collaborative writing music versus just someone sort of orchestrating and writing the whole thing themselves. And not that each of you aren't amazing artists on your own, but I can't imagine you being as good as you are together using each other's pros and cons and each other's input. It really does make a big difference. And so we don't hear, the same voice of Paul throughout the song, or even yours, the same voice of you throughout the song. It's a really unique song and a really unique sound that you guys have, despite being such a sort of traditional style of music. I think you've put your own stamp on it, and I think we have each one of you individually to thank for that. And I really appreciate the collaboration, for sure.
Yeah, well, it's really fun.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I think that one great thing is that everyone has weaknesses in the way that they approach music, because we all come from, our fairly limited set of influences that we grew up with. And so, for example, Neil just has a killer ear. I mean, you can play a chord, out of thin air, and he can tell you every note that's in it. And so when we sit down and we try to write vocal harmonies, Neil just hears them, and he's able to come out of his brain and say, well, Derek, this is what you're going to sing on the harmonies on this song, and Brian, this is what you're going to sing. And he doesn't even have to take a second to work it out. It's like he listens to the melody, and then he says, okay, Brian, here's your part, sing it back to me. And so Neil's kind of like the vocal coach on all the harmonies, because he just has this amazing ear. And I don't know that he had to do a lot to develop that. He talks a lot about it just being a good grace, and that God gave him some good abilities there, but he definitely did work hard at it after that. And so all the harmonies on the album, both Went to the Well and our upcoming album, Brownsboro, we have Neil 100% to thank for the uniqueness of those harmonies and the kind of fullness of them, because it's just how they just fall out of his brain.
Yeah, that's amazing. What a gift. And it is definitely a God-given gift. Thank God for that gift. And thank God for each of you taking instruction from him. The harmonies are amazing. And now, do all of you sing, each one of you?
Yeah, we do a lot of 4-part harmony on both Went to the Well and on the new record. Sometimes we pare it down to 2 just to change the texture, but we really love singing in 4-part harmony, so we do it a lot.
Well, I really loved hearing the 4-part harmonies, and you spoke of sort of playing on each other's strengths. I think that really does strengthen the entire album and all of your music. That sense of community, like you said, people don't think good quality art can come from a community, but I honestly think that that's the only way really high quality art can come, especially in music. You've got people like Michael Jackson and things like that were writing a lot, and they get a whole lot of credit, but they also had a whole team of people. Quincy Jones has his hands in a lot of that stuff. So I think even though a lot of us have this impression that great art and great music can come from one sort of epic songwriter, and most of the times that's not actually the case. I think it is more or less from a community, and we really have that to look forward to. Hopefully more people can learn from that. Instead of trying to orchestrate their own music, open it up to others and let their interpretations and strengths sort of shine through. We are going to take a short break. I really want to get to that song so that people can hear a little bit about you guys, Derek. So coming back in from that break, we're going to play Canaan, and that is off the Went to the Well EP, and it's available on their website. It's theMistyMountainStringBand.com. And unfortunately, we do have to take that short break, but we'll be right back with more. Please stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Tiffany with Friends from Home. Did you know that every year roughly 40 million Americans change their address? That's almost 13% of the U.S. population. Many of them move from one coast to the other and for many different reasons. A new job, better weather, or just a much-needed change. But no matter where you move, it can be hard to meet people that you connect with. That is what Friends from Home is all about. Find a community of people in your city that are from your home state or country without having to friend request strangers. You can also find events to meet people you'll have more rapport with. Visit friendsfromhome.com and get connected to kind voices that are from where you are from.
Hi, this is Tim from Team Trivia, and I really hope you're enjoying your weekly Team Trivia questions. The good news is the fun isn't limited to a kind voice. We have live shows all over the country where you can put all your knowledge of random or weird facts to use. It's completely free to play, and the best part is that there are great prizes. And if you're in charge of planning your company's holiday party or diversity training seminars, give us a call. With an impressive resume, including the Atlanta Braves, the Home Depot, and Delta, we can handle any corporate event needs for you. If you're in the Atlanta area, check out teamtrivia.com. For all of the regions, go to playteamtrivia.com. And call 1-866-5-TRIVIA when you want to book us for your next event. And be sure to mention you heard this ad on A Kind Voice to get 10% off.
WJZF Music Radio.
Flies at the track. But don't blink, you'll miss him, 'cause we won't be coming back. Singing la 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 la. And we seen Miss Dixie at the Lonesome Pine Saloon. When she sings a sweet sunny south, the notes fall out of tune. Have you seen old Early Bird? He's the long arm of the law. He strikes like lightning, and Miss Dixie digs his draw, singing la 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 la. Have you seen my pistol man? She's as long as my leg is tall. She shot old early on the streets of Omaha. Have you seen those gallows where the devil and his monkeys play? I'm off to Canaan for my final judgment day, singing la 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 la. Have you seen that steamboat man? My soul is gonna roll tonight down the Mississippi, where the catfish are in flight, singing la 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 la.
Welcome back. Thank you for listening to A Kind Voice on Music. I'm your host, Tyler Wolf. Today we're talking with Derek Harris of the Misty Mountain String Band, heard there with the track Canaan off of the successfully crowd-funded Went to the Well EP. Now, Derek, tell us a little bit about that song, what it's about, and how it came about.
Separate from the band, and then we worked together to arrange it. And so Paul just decided he wanted to write a song that was kind of a cowboy sort of song. And so he came up with that nice little chord progression that just makes you think of being out on the prairie, and wrote a nice little story song about, Early Bird and his adventures, I guess, as being the long arm of the law. So it's one song that we really get a lot of great response off of, and once it was finished, it kind of became a staple that we had to play it at every show, every concert, everything that we were on. People always wanted to hear that song.
It's definitely one of my favorites, for sure. And I know it's from this EP from last year, and I'm sure you guys are moving on to bigger and better things, but I would also really want to hear it if I came to see you live. That is such a gorgeous song. There's something to be said about the simplicity of the track, and that it isn't overwritten, overproduced, and that seems to be a pattern of today's music. A lot of it is overproduced at the very least, with a whole lot of electronic equipment and digital tweaking. So it's really nice to hear the simplicity of that song, and I think it is just simply gorgeous. I'm a big fan. And I know that EP, was successfully crowdfunded, and that was through Kickstarter, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, Kickstarter, especially when we were first working on our album, was getting a lot of buzz, and I was following it pretty closely on a lot of the music blogs, and so we decided to just go for it. And so we got all of our songs together, and we decided we wanted to go ahead and have the album recorded and mixed and mastered and ready to go, and then we would rely on our fan base and hopefully a few new fans to raise the money for us, crowdfunding style, for us to actually get it printed and in everyone's hands. So we had a really great experience learning about Kickstarter and reading all the posts that they had on their blogs and trying to follow all of their advice. And it really paid off. We were able to be a staff pick like the first day that we launched it, and it hit on one of the most popular Kickstarters of that month, the first day that we launched it, and we went over double our goal. And it was kind of partially, though, because we overreached with some of our promises. So we would say, like, we would do a cover song, any cover song that someone chose, for $50, and we would upload it to YouTube, or we would write an original song for someone for like $75, and we would record it in a home studio and send them a copy. And Paul said he also went to school for visual art, so he said he would draw these sketches of people for $5 or a sketch or something like that. And so we ended up with all of this original content that we had to create, instead of just saying, hey, if you order the CD early, we'll send you the digital copy early, and use it more like a pre-order campaign like a lot of Kickstarters tend to.
Yeah, that's really amazing, and especially that you guys went through all of that work to make sure to get everything that you promised to each and every pledge. That's really, really honorable, and I think there's something to be said about that as well. And I understand that the new album will be a full-length album, correct?
That's correct, yeah. It's
right.
10 songs called Brownsboro, and we're currently working on a Kickstarter campaign for that as well.
That's right, and I read a little bit about it. It says that these are road-tested songs, fan-approved after 2 years of touring. You recorded in Nashville with Michael Spooner of Red Couch Recording, and much like the EP from 2013, and also with Steve Thomas Canyon Studios. Tell us a little bit about the new album and what we can expect.
Sure. Well, with Went to the Well, like you said, we were in Nashville at Red Couch recording studios with Michael Spooner, and that was a unbelievable and grueling experience because we decided we only had 2 days to record it. And really it was more like a day and a half because we got down to Nashville on like a Friday afternoon, and we spent the evening on Friday and all day on Saturday to record all 6 songs on Went to the Well. And Brian was sick, and he could just barely like get up and get around to play his guitar, and we were so pushed for time. But we had a lot of fun, and Michael's a good friend, and he kept it moving along and kept it lighthearted and kept us reasonable with our expectations. So we were really happy to call him back and to hopefully spend a lot more time on Brownsboro, which we were definitely able to. I mean, we spent 4 times as much time at least on this album as we did on Went to the Well. And it was Michael who had met Thomas, who's a Grand Ole Opry fiddle player, and he's been just kind of a fill-in fiddle for just about every one you can ever imagine that has come through Nashville and needed a fiddle player, and played with the Whites and lots of different just amazing groups. And so Michael had met him at a wedding, and so just yet again another example of how things just tend to fall together for the Misty Mountain String Band. He had met Steve at a wedding, and then we called him up about a new album. So he just decided he'd see if Steve wanted to work with us on it. So Steve was one of the producers and had that studio that he was working at, Eagle Canyon, which is a lot different than Michael's studio. So we did a little bit of work in both, just kind of depending on what was going to work the best, whose equipment we wanted to use, or if we felt like we really needed Steve there. For example, since he's a fiddle player, we wanted him to be there listening and tracking and being sure that everything that was recorded for the fiddle was, definitely recorded for the fiddle. And it was pretty exciting to work with someone who had, like, just the week previous had several members of, like, Newgrass Revival in his studio recording an album, and then here he is working with us. So Brownsboro has turned out to be just a real joy, and there was nothing grueling about the experience because we gave ourselves enough time, and we found out real quick that you can never actually, I guess, have enough time, but you can feel good about what you've done when you leave the studio instead of be like, I wonder if this is going to be what we think it is.
Well, I'm definitely excited to hear Brownsboro, of course. We have a few tracks from it that we will highlight here on the show. So coming in from that next break, we'll have an exclusive track off that new album coming up. But I really am excited about the new album because it uses the same studios and the same guys helping produce. I wanted to make sure to specifically mention their names and also to specifically mention the studios because I'm such a fan of the sound. It is gorgeous. It is clean. It's clear. It's perfect in pretty much every way, in my opinion. And as a student of music, I'm a little bit nitpicky, and I can't find a lot wrong with the entire EP. So I had to mention them just to give them a little plug. And if you're in Nashville or looking for a recording studio, you obviously know where to go now with Red Couch Recording or Eagle Canyon Studios, and definitely hook up with Mr. Spooner or Mr. Thomas. There's a little bit more information on their site about that stuff as well. And I also wanted to go ahead and give a little quote from your website about the upcoming full-length album, Brownsboro. The quote is, in an age of cherry-picking digital downloads, Brownsboro is an album in the traditional sense, a cohesive unit from packaging to thematic content. There's definitely a little lack of album purchasing nowadays with people digitally downloading one song off of albums. I'm certainly guilty of that, but I think with Brownsboro, we have a chance to really want to buy the whole album off of from the Misty Mountain String Band's new release. We are going to take a quick break, but we will be back with more about that album. its packaging, its formats, why it's on vinyl. So make sure you stick around for a little bit more from the Misty Mountain String Band. We also have that track coming in from break. It's called Coming Home, and that is an exclusive off of the new album yet to be released. So you will hear it here right after this quick break.
Hi, I'm Claire Bloom, and I started End 68 Hours of Hunger to put bags of food in the hands of local children who have little or nothing to eat for the 68 hours between the free lunch they get in school on Friday and the free breakfast they get in school on Monday. Our vision is to end childhood hunger in America one school at a time, and that's how we operate. We start programs wherever we have 2 volunteers in a community who are prepared to step up and take responsibility for running the program, and we grow from there. Today, we're feeding 900 children each weekend in 29 communities, and we're growing. If you're interested in starting a program in your community, please visit our website, www.end68hoursofhunger.org, and click on the tab at the top of the page that says FAQ. Everything you need to know about starting a program is there, including videos on how to talk with groups, how to set up your space, and even what kind of food to include in the bags. Feel free to reach out to me at n68hoursofhunger@gmail.com.
WJZF Music Radio.
back. Thanks for listening to A Kind Voice on Music. I'm Tyler Wolf, and today we are showcasing the Misty Mountain String Band based out of Louisville, Kentucky, who met at seminary, put together a pickup group for an old-time camp revival, and blossomed into a match made in musical heaven. They're introducing fans to unique music influenced by traditional Kentucky songs, but written for fans of music today. What a song. That was Coming Home from the Misty Mountain String Band off the new album, Brownsboro. I'm a huge fan of that song. Derek, tell us a little bit about that track, please.
Sure. Coming Home is the song that really gave us this eye for what our sound could be. After Went to the Well had came out, and we'd been touring and playing around a lot, trying to find like how far we wanted to take arranging traditional old-timey string band bluegrass music. And we think we kind of hit our limit for complexity, like for how far we even really want to take it right now with Coming Home. It's a difficult song for us to perform live. It took a long time to really write and to work into what it is. But it's a song that we think hits just on every single facet of what we want the Misty Mountain String Band to be able to say our music is like and what it's about. We could say, well, listen to that song. That's a great example. And the kind of point behind the song is kind of funny. It was actually inspired by an Oingo Boingo song. My wife always says that I don't write songs about her, and that bothers her, that I should write a song for her. But there's lots of things that, when you're writing a song, it maybe doesn't come out overtly that you've written it for or about a person, but it can be inspired by that person. And I kind of took the lead on Coming Home, and this Oingo Boingo song is one of my wife's favorite songs, so I kind of wrote a string band version. I guess you could say it's like a spiritual successor to this Oingo Boingo song, that it's about how all of us go out and we have to work so hard to get by every day, and we just want to come home and be with our loved ones, to be with our spouses, and to be able to not just be working to get by, but to be able to come home and experience just that love and that intimacy that comes with being with the person you want to be with for your whole life. And so that's why we mention coal miners, and we mention soldiers, we mention farmers, just kind of as these great types that we look at in our culture as people that work really, really hard for maybe not a lot of payoff. But just as an example of these are great people that we can say, they're just a good example for the rest of us, that they go out, they work hard, and they come home, and they love the ones that they're with.
It's a beautiful song. It really is, and such a beautiful inspiration for a song. That's amazing. I can't get enough of it, and I'm really happy to have access to the song myself, and a little bit of a selfish mentality, but thank you very, very much. Of course, I want to talk a little bit more about Brownsboro, the album of which you can catch Coming Home off of. So we mentioned a little bit about the packaging and formats, and I teased a little bit about the vinyl release of the album. Tell us a little bit about why it's so important for you to have a thematic cohesiveness to the album, and also about how it will be released as far as packaging, formats, and vinyl.
Sure. Well, as far as the concept behind having a cohesive thematic album instead of just a collection of good songs, is that we are kind of in an age where people tend to just buy a song they like, and artists even on the radio are releasing a lot of singles or a lot of EPs, a lot of mixtapes, and they're not going for even full-length albums very often because that's supposedly not profitable for them. But I think one of the reasons that it's not as profitable as the single method or doing just EPs is because the kind of music they write and the situation they're in calls for a really fast turnover to bring out new music because songs just don't stick around very long in that pop music environment. But in, old time and bluegrass music, we're still playing the same songs that Bill Monroe wrote, and so you look ahead and you say we're trying to write songs that are going to last. And so to kind of bring people back into that mindset that it's okay to buy a whole album and to listen to a whole album, not because you've heard it all or because you necessarily even think that this is something that you want a whole album of, but because if you hear a song you like, you can support these artists, you can support their art, and you might be surprised once you listen through a whole album how much you can get out of it instead of just single songs. And so when the whole album kind of has a progression and it has meaning behind all the songs and we're making statements, we're not just playing a dance music or something like that. We're saying this is, important stuff that we're talking about. These are the stories from our lives and the people around us, and that they're worth telling, they're worth preserving, they're worth keeping. So to get people to want to buy an album, we just went all out with packaging. We have this wonderful connection that we made through Instagram, of all places, Abby Diamond, and she's an illustrator, and she's just one of the greatest, visual artists I've ever seen. And she did some of the work. The cardinal that's on the back of our EP went to the well, but so we just told her to have fun. We sent her the album before anyone else. She was the first person to hear it, and we said, you listen to this and you make whatever you want. We don't want to guide you. We don't want to tell you what to do. We just want your art to be the album art. And so she came up with just a stellar, unbelievable concept that ties all of our songs together into one beautiful package. And if folks give to the Kickstarter, then they'll be able to see the whole album art starting tonight. We're going to post an update so that they can see every panel of it. We even have, liner notes and insert. All the lyrics are in there. It was kind of funny because we wanted to do a 6-panel digipack for the CD and ask her to write something in the middle, like that is something we could put the liner notes over top of. But she ended up making this beautiful starscape with these constellations that are examples from all of the themes of our songs, and we couldn't cover it up, so instead we made a tube pocket and we made an extra insert and put it in there, so when you open the album, it's just her art. It's not liner notes, it's not thank yous, it's not lyrics, it's just her art straight across there that just perfectly embodies what our songs are about. And so going from that, we wanted to make a vinyl, because a vinyl is something you can't as easily just skip to the next track if you don't like it. You have to find your way around the vinyl album. And so we wanted people to be able to put this on and listen to the whole album in one go, at least the first time, to get this full picture that culminates between the art, the music, the story, the meaning, and just that they might get a little bit more out of it than their typical pop song or single that they might buy.
Definitely. That's really cool that she can help showcase your music and you can help showcase her art. There's definitely something missing in music today with the lack of that. The tangibility of having the album in your hand is something I grew up with, and a lot of kids today, sadly, won't read a lyrical pamphlet. They won't see art inserts, and they will never hold a vinyl record, which is very disheartening. I think there's something that's sort of exhilarating about holding that record in your hand, holding that album in your hand, and seeing the packaging, seeing the artwork. And it's a shame today that things are quite a bit about money, and it's nice and it's very refreshing to see a band that isn't so worried about the money and isn't making music for the top 40. They're making it for fans, and they're making it for artists and appreciators of all of that. We're going to talk a little bit more about the album as well as the campaign that you can help pre-order an album and help them actually get this album out, sort of become a producer for the Misty Mountain String Band. You can help them, but I'm sorry, we must take a quick break. We'll be right back with more, and we will also have another track on our way in, and the track is titled Caged Bird off of the new album, Brownsboro, another exclusive. So please stay tuned.
This is NASCAR driver Kurt Busch, and I am proud to support our nation's veterans. Do you know you can get a faster decision on your disability compensation claims by filing an electronic fully developed claim, or e-claim, on eBenefits? Take it from a guy who lives his life in the fast lane. Faster is better. Visit ebenefits.va.gov today to learn more.
He went without food, not to lose weight, but to help people lose generations of hate. While many around him rose up with violence, he sat down for peace. When others used religion as an excuse for war, he used it to remind them of love. Mahatma Gandhi made the world a far better place by reaching out with the strength he cultivated within his soul. Soul. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
WJZF Music Radio.
Before night comes again. One day a caged bird, on another I fly. Sun in the morning, then clouds fill the sky. I'm ready to leave, I go back inside. Whoever I am is a question of time. Got up my courage at 3:45, write my regrets, dirt off the floor. I woke up late and I run out the door. Just another day like every day before. One day a caged bird, on another I fly. Sun in the morning, then clouds fill the sky. I'm ready to leave, then I go back inside. Whoever I am is a question of time.
Welcome back. Thanks for listening to A Kind Voice on Music. I'm your host, Tyler Wolf, and today we are showcasing the Misty Mountain String Band. You just heard them there, and if you'd like to join the conversation, just call us at 347-850-8907. Let's get back to the show. What a song. I'm a huge fan of that song. It is super strange sounding, and I mean that in a good way. Derek, tell me about that feel. That is such a unique song. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, that song, Brian was kind of the main songwriter on that one, and he had been particularly touched by some writings of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, theologian and Christian martyr, and he was reading some of his poetry and kind of really resonated with it. And so he wrote the lyrics and a lot of the tune to that song, and Paul came in and helped him kind of finish it up. But when they were trying to finish up the lyrics and the chord idea, I just had this thought that we could do it kind of in a Django Reinhardt, like hot club jazz style. It's awesome. It was so fun. And a lot of the old Newgrass guys were really, I think, influenced by Django Reinhardt and some of the fiddle players that he had anyway. And so it fits, it fits our style well.
It's amazing. Neil's fiddle work on that track is phenomenal. It's sort of like a European kind of vibe, much like Django Reinhardt. I'm a huge Django fan, and I think everyone out there who's never heard of him or doesn't understand what we're talking about needs to look up Django Reinhardt and classical guitar work, and it's very indicative of that style, and it's just beautiful. It's by far my absolute forerunner favorite, especially off of what I've heard, and I definitely can't wait for the album due to just that track. I can't wait. I will definitely be buying it myself, and you can help the Misty Mountain String Band if you'd like. On Kickstarter, they're over halfway to their goal, but they still need a lot more help from supporters and pledges like you. You can just pre-order the album to ensure its release and help make it happen yourself. Just show your support through ordering the album now and help an independent band keep their independence. It's really refreshing to have bands controlling their own destiny, and you can help the Misty Mountain String Band hold on to that freedom that they hold so dear. Check out their website at themistymountainstringband.com. So we're going to do a crazy little questionnaire I have here, Derek. Okay, so it was popularized by Inside the Actors Studio. I don't know if you're familiar with James Lipton and that show, but it is one of my favorite questionnaires ever. We've adjusted it a little bit over the last few weeks. We're trying to make it fit on the show, or at least I am. I'm sort of forcing it in. Last week we had a little trouble with it. I seem to have cut off a few of our guests. My apologies to last week's guest. But we're going to try this again, and I think I'm getting a little better at it. So, Derek, please answer quickly and clearly. Don't think too much, and try to give us the first question or first answer that comes to your mind when you hear the question. First up, what is your favorite word?
My favorite word?
Yes, sir.
I guess reckon. I reckon. That's probably my favorite word.
Yes, it's perfect for a Kentucky band. That is awesome. And, okay, keep it up. Quickly, clearly, what's your least favorite word?
My least favorite word is, I guess, moist.
We've had that one before. That's crazy. Okay, what turns you on?
What turns me on? My wife.
Good answer. What turns you off?
Anyone other than my wife.
Great answer, by the way. Brownie points. What sound or noise do you love?
I love the sound of an acoustic guitar.
Me too. What sound or noise do you not love?
Particularly love the sound of a blue jay.
Okay. And, all right, we're nearing the end. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
What's that?
Okay, pardon me. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I've always thought being an architect would be pretty cool.
Okay. What profession or job would you not like to attempt?
I don't think I want to do any job that would involve like data entry.
Okay, desk job could be pretty boring for a musician. Okay, final question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Well done, my good and faithful servant.
Excellent, man. Well, thank you so much for being a part of our show. Thanks for your time today. More importantly, thank you for using your kind voice to make a difference through sharing your music with the world. We appreciate you and the insights you've shared with us all. Thank you very much, Derek.
Hey, thank you so much, Tyler.
It has truly been a pleasure. If you'd like more information about today's guest, visit our music program homepage under the radio tab at akindvoice.org. For more information on how you can be considered for a guest spot on our show, check out the guest information page on the site. And if you'd like your music to be considered for our closing act portion of the program, scroll to the bottom of the homepage. Find out how you can submit your own pre-recorded segment. Thank you very much for listening out there. We appreciate your support, and we look forward to next week's show. I hope you've had as much fun as I have. And please remember to use your kind voice to make a difference today. For A Kind Voice on Music, this is Tyler Wolf signing off. Thank you. Good night.
Well, hello, fellow soldier. How's your day? Come take my arm. Let's walk and sink away. I want to know your thoughts now, yes, it's true. And that bluebird, he flew by now just for you. You step outside, you don't know who you'll meet. Feel the pitter-patter of the street. Join the crowd and sing in harmony. I won't let go, come link elbows with me.